Good Monday afternoon. I am home because I got stopped from going to work by house problems. What are you gonna do? That up there, it's not a ghost. They're from my glowy lamps. I can't wait until this is a completely glittery, glowing fairy room. These are things I already had. We've actually got to get stuff out of boxes before I can even think about buying anything for this room. It's gonna be a minute. Anyway, seemed like the last couple of weeks there'll be a bunch of dudes like this. I want to go back to the day when the wife had to wash clothes on the washboard and dry 'em with the mangler. If anybody knows what a mangler is, then I'm dating myself. So, I'm sure this has been about talked to death. So, I decided to go ahead and record this now instead of waiting until next weekend when I plan on doing it, because by then it's going to be like dog years as far as the internet is concerned. And this is a commentary about the football man that made the graduation speech at the college. And I'm not going to name his name. Most of you are probably already heard the story more times than you want to have heard it. But granted, it was at a Catholic college. That's the only concession that I'm going to give. Except that the speech wasn't just, oh, I believe women should get married and stay at home with the children and be the homemaker. I don't really necessarily have a problem with if that's your opinion. The only problem I have with that is that it puts her in a financial position that if he decides to trade her in or he dies and she's left penniless, that leaves her with no work skills to go get a job if she has to, and that leaves her with no money. But anyway, it's thought in itself of a stay-at-home traditional wife. That's what you believe, that's what you believe. The problem that I had with that graduation speech is I first heard a snippet of it, then I heard the whole thing, and how dehumanizing that football player talked about everybody except for straight white men. He didn't say that out loud, but he wanted to go back to a time when men were men and women were women and there was no such thing as trans. He didn't say anything about interracial marriage. I don't remember any hint as to that. He probably even knew better than to say anything about that, especially if his audience wasn't all white, which it probably wasn't. But he gets to in the speech and he talks about, I want to speak to you particular ladies and congratulate you on the accomplishments that you have thus received, and in the future you will be getting all kinds of raises and you'll be getting all kinds of promotions, but your life won't truly begin until you become a wife and mother. As my wife's life didn't truly begin until she became a wife and mother. And then he goes on to talking about, oh, how much he couldn't accomplish without her, and then it's a little fake crying. I don't think he even likes his wife. Talking about her, she wanted to do a career, but her life didn't begin until she became a wife and mother, and even converted to his faith. She wasn't Catholic. I don't even think he likes his wife. I think he likes the idea of a wife and what the wife can provide service-wise and be the incubator of his legacies. But I don't even think he even likes her, because I don't think he would have talked about her like that if he liked her. But then it gets better. He goes on to clarify the speech. Everyone is taking what I said out of context. All I said is that we should go back to a better time, like the 50s and the 60s, when men were men and women were women, men were men and women were women, and had more babies than thoughts. Had more babies than thoughts. So he's saying out loud women shouldn't even think, or that they can't think. He probably wants all of us lobotomized, to be quite honest. When the only Me Too movement was the one woman saying that she was ready for her fourth child and another woman agreeing. What the fuck? doesn't see anybody but in his demographic as even human beings. He doesn't see women as human beings. He doesn't see trans as human beings, gay. He doesn't see anybody except in white, straight men as human beings. That's a far cry from my personal religious belief, even though it says nothing about this if you're talking about the Bible religion, that the woman should become a wife and a mother, and that's what you believe. That's a far cry from that. I have classical music playing because I try to find 18th century music because it seems like a lot of these guys want to shove it back to that time. And that's all that came up on Amazon Music. Maybe I should have searched 14th century music. Back when we were just something to trade, and something for the men to grape, and something for the men to abuse, and something for the men to impregnate over and again, and she finally died in childbirth. Anyway, looking forward to this office finally coming together and just being able to come in here and do all my creative thinking. There's even a door that closes. I can close it to the outside world. Everybody have a good one.